Well, good evening, my friends, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman out here at my bench rest with this recently acquired Marlin Model 60 semi-automatic 22. And once again, this will be another one for my 22 rimfire series videos. I went ahead and put a scope on this gun. I mounted a scope on here after I did a little bit of work. I went ahead and redid the receiver. There you can see I dressed it up and it cleaned up very nicely. And I think I'll be showing you how to do that in a future video. I've got a way of doing that where the finish that's on there, that I put on there, is actually better than the factory finish. It's a baked on hard finish and it'll last you for a long time. If you've got an old Marlin that needs some cleaning up and it's got a scratched up receiver, or if there's aluminum showing through the paint, you'll want to watch that video. But anyway, we're going to see if this gun will shoot. In other words, we'll see how accurate it is. I put this scope on here. It's not really parallax corrected for that distance. It's for 100 yards, but I've got it out here. I just shot it at 40 yards, and I've got a bullet hole that's low and to the right. And I went ahead and made the adjustment, and we're going to see how close I get to the bullseye. And we'll take a 5-shot group just to see if the gun will actually group them in there the way that I expect the gun should shoot, you know. I went ahead and cleaned the inside of the action up really well, and everything looked almost brand new in here, so the gun should do quite well. But let's go ahead and take a few shots and see how well the gun will perform. I picked up some of these CCI standard velocity target rounds, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that target. We'll get loaded up here and take a few shots. I'll get a little closer than that. All right. Tell you what, I'm going to put 5 more in there. All right, 5 more rounds. And it's starting to cluster them in there just above the bullseye. I think the gun's just getting leaded in. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I've been getting some of this CCI ammo at Walmart, my local Walmart lately, and just by looking at some of these cases out of this box here, they look kind of tarnished to me. I don't know, they're just not nice and bright and shiny like I usually get them, you know. There you can see, I don't know, looks like maybe they got moisture in them or something. Not sure if that'll have any effect on the accuracy, but anyway, I got 10 more rounds loaded up, and I'll get zoomed in here. I just kind of wanted to point that out, see if any of the rest of you guys have noticed the same thing. Not really sure. But we'll try it out here. Here's 10 more rounds in that top target. Here we go. I'm going to hit to the right a little bit. Yeah. Alright, that's all 10 of them there. I know I shot them kind of quick, but the first few kind of scattered around a little bit. Okay guys, I ran a bore snake through the barrel, and this time we're going to try some of this SK semi-auto. See if the little gun might group a little bit better with that. So let me get zoomed in here. A little bit low and to the right, first round on a clean bore. See where the rest of them go here. Alright, still shooting a little bit to the right. Well my friends, as you can see, I've got another target stuck on that piece of cardboard down there just below the one I just shot at. And I went ahead and adjusted the scope a few clicks to the left. So let's see if we can get the next 5 centered up a little bit better. Here we go. Well, I told you these little Marlin Model 60s can shoot. You just got to find the right ammo for them. I don't know what's going on with this CCI stuff, but it's just not shooting as well as what I'm used to. Maybe I just got a bad batch of it. Who knows? If you haven't tried this SK semi-auto, I would recommend giving it a try in any rifle that you've got. It doesn't necessarily have to be a semi-automatic rifle. This does exceptionally well in my bolt actions and also in my pump action rifles. So give this stuff a try. It's well worth it. I'm going to go ahead and open the box and show you. You can tell right away that this is good quality ammunition. Individually packaged. I mean, just look at that round, folks. You can tell that they've really incorporated a lot of care into these cartridges, and one is just exactly like the next one. Consistency. That is the key to accuracy. Let me go grab that target and we'll talk about these groups a little bit. Well, my friends, here's the target that I just shot at down there at 40 yards with this Marlin Model 60 that I got at a pawn shop, okay? And what I was using, once again, is this SK semi-auto. Good ammunition, good stuff. The first 5-shot group, that first shot was on a clean barrel, and then the 4 subsequent shots right there, you can tell that that barrel was starting to get leaded in. And then I went ahead and put up another target, and the first shot was right there at that bullseye, and then all subsequent shots were just above it. Those two right there are almost touching. But I've got 4 bullet holes in one little ragged hole there the size of an aspirin tablet. And here I've got a penny, and I guarantee you I can cover it with a dime, but easily covered with a penny. Easy, you know. So I can make headshots on squirrels at 40, 50, probably even 60 yards with that gun every time, you know. And that's for a gun that I paid less than $200 for at a local pawn shop. And, you know, I know that these little Marlin Model 60s will shoot accurately if you feed them the right ammunition. What I did is I ran this bore snake through the barrel after I shot those CCI rounds. And that's the way you need to test your guns, guys. You know, you need to clean the barrel and then run about 5 or 6 shots through the barrel to get that bore inside conditioned to that particular type of ammunition that you're testing, and then you'll be able to tell whether or not that gun likes that kind of ammunition. And quite honestly, I got to say, you know, that SK ammunition, it's premium stuff. It'll cost you a little bit more, but let me tell you, it pays off in terms of how well it makes one of these old guns shoot, you know. Well guys, now that I know I've got another little tack driver here that's very well capable of being a squirrel sniper and is more than adequate to take into the woods to go hunting, I'm going to do a little bit of work on this stock because I really want to dress it up. And if you watched the last video, I pointed out that I almost didn't buy this gun because someone had drilled holes into the stock here. And this one here is off center, and this one here, like I pointed out, isn't even necessary because you can get an attachable sling swivel mount that will go on the tube right here on these tubular magazine guns. I think Uncle Mike's makes them, but I'm sure there's probably another manufacturer out there that will make that type of attachment for a sling swivel if that's what you want. But if you don't know what you're doing and you've got an old rifle or a new one, you know, don't start drilling holes in it. So, by the way, I'm sorry about that air conditioner kicking on back there, but we got to keep it going on these hot days. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take the barreled action out of the stock, and I'll show you how I'll make that repair. And we're going to refinish the stock anyway. Not that there's anything really wrong with this gun, but you know, that's sloppy workmanship right there, and it's something that I just can't tolerate, you know. And if I can fix it, I'm sure going to try. So first thing we want to do, of course, is make sure the gun's not loaded, and we know that already. And you know, if you work on your own guns, make sure you get a good quality gunsmith screwdriver set so that you don't further damage the gun by marring up the screws. This one here, as you can see, I'll take it off. Someone has already damaged it by using the wrong slot screwdriver, not using the right equipment. This is a takedown screw. It's not too bad, but it can be improved on, you know, and I'm going to fix that. I may include that in this video. I've showed you how I do it in the past, but I'll run over that again just so you know. Okay, let's see. We've got this rear screw to take out. There's no sense in using the wrong screwdriver and damaging your gun if you don't have to, you know. Just why do that? You know, get you a good screwdriver. I think I don't know, I paid 20 bucks for this set, and it'll last you a lifetime. You know, just keep up with all the pieces. And it comes with all different types of bits. You know, you got Phillips heads, you got Torx, and then you've got Allen head, you know, for mounting scopes or whatever. It's well worth the money, let me tell you. Keep up with these screws, don't lose them. Now I want to go ahead and take out the trigger assembly. Remember, these Marlin Model 60s have this little bushing that goes right here. It's a threaded bushing that retains the trigger housing. There it is. And what I like to do, so that I can keep up with everything, I'll go ahead and put the screw back in here, thread that bushing on there, snug it down a little bit, and you'll be able to keep up with it. I'll go ahead and put this takedown screw into the action here and keep it with the gun. That way it's not rolling around somewhere where it'll get lost, you know. And then this screw right here, I'm going to go ahead and feed it through right here and attach that to the gun. Now, I've got everything all put together right there, you know, and I can put this away until I get ready to put it back together. Okay guys, what you'll need are some drill bits, an assortment, some of this hardwood dowel material, and a drill, okay? And what we're going to do first of all is drill these holes out just a little bit bigger to accommodate filling them in with these hardwood dowels here. So we'll find the right drill bit here. And we'll go ahead and get that taken care of pretty quickly. This won't take long at all. We'll go with this drill size first. Okay, and what I want to do first of all is get this hole here centered up. So what I'll do, I know it's off to the right too much. I need to drill a little bit towards the left. You can also use a Dremel to correct this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and drill this front part out here. We'll go with a bigger size. Step my way up a little bit until we get it filled in here. And by the way, I tapered these down a little bit, as you can see, because what that'll do is help the glue that we're going to put in there to really get a good bite on the wood. We'll go with this size next. This is a 11/32. You want to start just a little bit slow here. Right now it seems like you're making matters worse, but believe me, when we're done, it'll all pay off. Now you can see that hole is centered up the way it should be. Okay, I like to use epoxy to do this because it just holds so much better, and it also dries up inside the gun. You know, where wood glue, a lot of times if it gets sealed off, it can take a long time to dry. But this stuff here will dry and get hardened inside the gun even if it's sealed off. So you're not going to need a whole lot. You know, you just put a little dab on there and that should be enough. We'll get it mixed up here. Now that we've done enough drilling here, I don't want to drill any more wood out of my gun here. We're going to fill it in. Make sure you get this stuff mixed up really well. You know, it should all be one uniform color. And this can be kind of a critical part of getting this gun back in shape. But you can see where I've tapered the end of that dowel rod. And we're going to go ahead and put some on the rod itself. And we'll put a little bit here inside the hole. And we got to be careful right here, folks, because if you put it in there too tight, it could split the stock right here. So we don't want to go crazy with putting this dowel rod in here, because this can act like a wedge and actually split the stock. So just be careful and get it in there good and snug, but you don't want to go crazy with it, you know. You want it in there where it's nice and flush, and don't worry about it sticking through right here, because we're going to take care of that once the epoxy hardens. You just want a nice snug little fit. Just tap it lightly and wipe off this excess. Doesn't really matter because we're going to refinish it anyway. And once you get that put in there as tight as you want it, I like to go ahead and just trim it off. I like using a little flush saw like this right here. Just be careful not to get in contact with the stock, because you'll scratch it up. That looks better already. Okay, since this hole in the bottom part of this stock is rather deep, I want to go ahead and fill that up as much as I can at the very bottom and get this wooden dowel slipped in there, as you know, all the way to the bottom. You want to make sure that hole is completely plugged. Alright, I want to get pretty close to the stock, but not right on it. Leave a little bit of room. And now all we got to do is let this stuff set up, and we'll start sanding on the stock and get it back in shape with all the holes filled. Well folks, I decided to come out here this evening and strip the original finish off this Marlin 60 stock, and I really hated to do it, but since I had to fill these unsightly holes, you know, I really didn't have any other choice. And the reason I came out here this evening, it's just been so hot during the day that it's nearly unbearable. So I'll wait until the evening hours when it gets a little cooler. But I've been out here just sanding this stock down, and honestly, I think this is birch. Could be beech, but I believe they're made out of birch. It's a white wood, but as you can see, it has some grain in it, which you couldn't really see before with the factory finish on there. And I'm going to be going back with a dark red walnut stain. And since I went ahead and sanded the stock down, I wanted to dress it up a little bit by replacing this plain Jane butt pad here with one that has the Marlin logo on the rear. You know, that'll help dress it up a little bit. And this is the time to do it. When you're sanding on the stock, you can form the contour of that pad perfectly to the wood so that you don't feel any transition at all right there. So I'll be going over this with some fine sandpaper and then some steel wool, and then we'll put the stain on here, and we'll see if we can't make that blend in a little bit right there. I know you can see that, but it looks a lot better than that unsightly hole that was drilled off center there and really wasn't in the correct position at all. You know, it should have been a little bit lower down here and centered up. And this one here wasn't even necessary, like I mentioned before. But I'll go ahead and finish sanding on this, and then we'll put the stain on it and see if we can blend it all in. But one thing I forgot to mention was that the inside right there where this wooden plug came through, I went ahead and trimmed that off so that it's flush with the inside of that tube magazine well, so that we don't have any interference right there. And I really did my best to retain the factory lines of this stock. I didn't want to destroy the lines at all. Keep everything nice and sharp here. I didn't want to round that off. You know, keep everything shaped the same way as it was when it came out of the factory. The only thing I really changed was this plate back here, this hard rubber plate. But since it's a Marlin, and this is a genuine Marlin butt plate, I think that'll just add to the gun. So anyway, I'll see you when we get ready to put some stain on this stock. Folks, here I am the next morning, and I think I got this stock ready to be stained. I went ahead and removed the butt plate here because we're going to be staining this as well. I want to seal the back of the stock, and I've got some stain mixed up here. This has a sort of a reddish tinge, but it's more of a dark brown color that fairly closely resembles walnut in most white woods like this. So let's go ahead and put some on and see how it's going to look. I'm going to seal the back end of it first here. I took the stock plate or butt plate off of it so I could do this. Alright, here we go. This should be enough stain right here to do the whole stock. And if I don't like the color, I can always go back and redo it. Mainly I like to put it on a little bit heavy so that it'll soak in at first. And then I go over it again with just a rag. to get down inside this barrel channel as well. Magazine well here. Okay. Well, that didn't take as well as I wanted. So I'll be going over this again. Yeah, I'll be putting another coat of stain on this. Well, my friends, I got 2 more coats of this reddish brown antique walnut and mahogany stain mix on this stock. Now I'm trying to match the original color as closely as I can, and that's pretty much what I came up with. This has been out here drying all day long. I'm going to go ahead and apply a few coats of this polyurethane. This is semi-gloss. I don't want a real glossy look, and that'll help this stuff harden and dry. Get it shook up real good, get it mixed up. And we'll go ahead and start applying it. This kind of helps lock in the color and help preserve the look of this stock. Once I reach the desired depth of stain that I'm looking for. You don't want to go too heavy, just coat it nice and evenly. And I'm going to leave that out here and let that dry for another hour or 2, and we'll check on it later. Well, guys, I got this little Marlin Model 60 put back together. This is the final product, and I didn't go with a real glossy look. It was kind of a semi-gloss, and it's kind of a reddish walnut color, a little bit dark, but pretty close to the factory finish. Only with the finish I put on here, you can actually see the grain of the wood. I'll turn it around here just a second. Try to get the glare off of it. Sorry about that air conditioner coming on, but like I mentioned before, we got to keep it going. And these are the holes that I filled up. There you can see I filled that up with a hardwood dowel, top and bottom. That looks a lot better. And the stock just feels a lot nicer, you know, the way it feels when you shoulder it and everything. And since the metal was in pretty good condition, as you can see, it's pretty good, not bad at all. The muzzle crown looks really good. I wanted to add a little bit of a nice touch to it, so I put this Marlin butt pad on here, like I showed you before. That just added to the looks of the little gun a little bit. Not that it's necessary, but it's just a little flair that I put on there. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is mount the scope back on here. Now this scope is not really parallax correct for rimfire ranges, but it'll do for now. I got pretty good groups with it the other day, and I want to try some of this Ely subsonic hollow point, because you know, this is a sporting rifle. This is meant for target shooting, but it's also meant for hunting. And that's what this ammunition right here is designed for, to stop small game in its tracks, get it anchored right away. And I want to see how well that little rifle will shoot with that ammo. So we're going to try that out here in just a moment. Now, just to summarize the process that I used to get this finish, what I did is I sanded the stock down to the bare wood, as I showed you in the video, and then I used some fine steel wool, some 4/0, and went over the whole stock, you know, really went over it, made sure all the scratches were gone. And I fitted this butt plate on here, this Marlin butt plate, and sanded it to perfectly fit the contour of that stock, as you can see. Then I took the butt plate off before I stained it, and came out here and I put 3 layers of this stain on here, or 3 coats I should say, and really let it soak into the wood, and that's the color I got. And then after that stain hardened for 2 days, I went ahead and applied a coat of polyurethane semi-gloss, let that harden, and then I applied 2 more coats, and then I used that same steel wool, that 4/0 steel wool, went over the entire stock, and I applied True Oil until all the pores were filled, several layers of it, and then I went over it with some fine wet or dry paper. I used 600 grit and applied 2 more coats, real thin coats of True Oil, and then I went over it with the 000 steel wool, knocking some of that gloss off of there. I didn't want it to be too shiny. And then I polished it out with some stock sheen conditioner, and that's the finish I got. Give you another close look here. And it fairly closely resembles American walnut, you know. But I wanted to come back with the same color as what the factory put on here, but at the same time be able to see the grain underneath the finish. And that worked out pretty well. Now, as far as cleaning up this receiver and the metal and everything, I did not include that in this video, but I'll be making another video hopefully real soon showing you how I get this finish on this receiver. On these Marlins here, the ones that were made in the mid to late 1980s, the trigger guard here is made out of a hard polymer. The trigger itself is still metal. That's a metal trigger, and the safety is made out of metal. And the receiver is made out of aluminum alloy, okay? And it's pretty durable. I've never seen the receiver on these things wear out or fail or whatever. It kind of holds everything together. So that's enough talking about the gun. Let me go ahead and get this scope mounted on here, and we'll do a little bit more shooting. Alright, I'm going to get zoomed in here and shoot a 5-shot group at 40 yards. Here we go. It looks like they group just a little bit high at that distance, which is just fine with me. Now that's using this SK semi-auto 22 long rifle. Now we're going to try the Ely and see where it's grouping. Alright, bottom target. Not bad, not bad at all. Okay guys, I'm going to shoot another 5-shot group. I went ahead and put up another target down there at 40 yards. And I want to see if I can get a little bit tighter grouping at that distance. I think most of the problem that I'm having, which is not a lot, but is just simply the fact that that scope is not parallax corrected for that distance. So let's shoot 5 shots right here and see what we come up with here. I'm going to hold just a little bit low. So here we go. All right. I think all those clustered around that bullseye pretty closely. Alrighty folks, let's do some shooting at 50 yards. Let's see if we can connect with some of those steel targets down there and have a little bit of fun. I think you can see all those pretty well. See how well this little rifle will shoot at that distance. I'm going to go ahead and try that swinging target on the far left. Okay, now for the one on the far right. The one right next to it. And let's see, I see one on the far left again. It's right in the middle, that dark red target. And then there's that little bitty target. That one's only about 3/4 of an inch wide. All right, let's go squirrel hunting. I want that squirrel on the far left. Let's make a headshot on him. And the squirrel on the right. Let's make a headshot on that bunny. One more shot at that bunny. All right. Then I see one target right in the middle below that bunny rabbit. And that was the last shot. That's a good way to finish. Well, my friends, as you can tell, it's starting to get a little bit dark out here, and it's time to go ahead and close out this video. But before I go, I think it's safe to say that I've got a keeper here. You know, this little rifle turned out very well. I'm very well pleased with it. It's a great little shooter, as you can see. And, you know, I've always wanted one that is of this vintage, you know, the mid-1980s. And I hadn't had one yet. I've got a lot of the other ones, you know, the older Marlins and Glenfields. But this is the one that I've been looking for, and I'm glad I got it. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was out roaming around some of the local pawn shops, as I mentioned, and I spotted this little rifle in the rack. And I struck up a deal with the clerk there and got it for well under $200. And you know, I'm really tickled with it. So, you know, these little Marlins, they'll fool you sometimes. I know they're fairly inexpensive guns, and they're still available, as you can see. You know, they're on the used market. And if you can find one in good condition and you're looking for a good shooting, yet inexpensive 22, that's one that I would recommend. And as you can see from the groups that I shot here, this is a second 5-shot group. I shot one that I wasn't really satisfied with because of the way I was holding the gun, so I put another sandbag here, and I got a little bit more stable resting the gun on that, and I shot a better group. And as you can see right there, I mean, that group, you can easily cover that with a penny, you know. And then the second group I shot using the Ely subsonic hollow point because, you know, I intend on using this gun for squirrel hunting, small game. And I got one shot that's a little bit outside the group. That could have been the first shot. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. But then all 4 subsequent shots went nearly through the same hole at 40 yards, folks. You know, that's nothing to scoff at right there. And even with that hole, I can cover all the shots, as you can see, with a penny. Get that one covered up there. But that group right there, that 4-shot group, that's what, maybe a 1/4 of an inch. You know, not bad for a $150 rifle that's been used and been sitting around, probably kicked around in a closet somewhere for a long time. Who knows? But since I found it, I think it's found a new home. So with that being said, let me wish you well and thank you for watching. I do appreciate it very much. But remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, whatever your outdoor pursuit happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. But also remember this, hit that like button, smash that bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, you all take good care of yourselves, get out there and enjoy the great outdoors, and get your 22s out this summer and have some fun. I'll be seeing you.